good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, north side, south side, east coast, west coast, wherever you are, all around the world. This is Bethea's Byte Reloaded on a Monday, March 27th, 2023. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. Good to have you all on. As always, Bethea's Byte Reloaded is your home for news, opinions, debates, your voice, and justice served. Today, I want to start off with a bit of a warning for you because this particular edition is not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all good vibes. Who we have here first? We got Barbara on. How you doing, Barbara? I want to give you this warning. And like I said, it's not going to be all good vibes. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. This is a very, very important topic, and it needs to be had. So with that being said, if you feel uncomfortable at any time, I ask you respectfully to please go anywhere else, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. Go anywhere else. We're doing just fine, Barbara. I would love to have you on panel. Let me give you the link. All you have to do is copy and paste. In a new browser, tab, or window, and you're more than welcome to join in the conversation. Barbara. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now that I got that set, today's topic is huge because we are experiencing more deaths from methamphetamines and fentanyl, more specifically fentanyl, than we have by almost any other means. In fact, come Wednesday, I'm gonna talk with a mother who lost her daughter. Another ally. Come on in, Fox.
Hey, Fox.
On Wednesday, I'm gonna talk with a mother exclusively to find out what she feels happened with her daughter that led to her no longer being with us. It's gonna be a case of what can we do to get justice for Caitlin J. Crum. But in order to do that, this is the conversation we need to have. What's good, Fox?
Not much. No long day.
Yeah, of course. And it's about to get a little longer, especially with a conversation like this.
Yes. Sir.
We've had more. There's been more. There's been pretty much either the same amount or more deaths from fentanyl and, to some extent, methamphetamines than we've had through gunfire. And this conversation needs to be had today in order to say this is what you can do to possibly save some lives. It's always a good thing to get knowledge in this. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I've gotten the information I've gotten from from two great sources. One from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the other from no less than authority than the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. I'm going to start with that on the dangers of methamphetamines. First off, in this little sections that says know the risks of meth. Methamphetamine is a synthetic. Who we got here? Hold on just a second before I even get started. Who do we have? Barbara's joining. How you doing, Barbara?
Doing good. Just got off of work and I'm exhausted.
That's
But
the way.
still doing good.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. I was just about to start off with information on methamphetamines, its danger, how it can be prevented.
Yeah.
All right. Methamphetamine is a synthetic stimulant that is addictive and can cause considerable health adversities that can sometimes result in death. It can be smoked, snorted, injected, or taken orally, and is often used with other substances.
Mm.
Someone using meth may experience a temporary sense of heightened euphoria, alertness, and energy. That's because meth increases the amount of dopamine, a natural chemical in the brain. Dopamine is involved in body movement, motivation, and reinforcing reward behaviors. It rapidly releases high levels of dopamine into reward areas of the brain, making people want to continue to use it. Not only does it change how the brain works, but it also speeds up the body's systems to dangerous, sometimes lethal levels, increasing blood pressure and heart and respiratory rate. People who use meth may also experience anxiety, paranoia, aggression, hallucinations, and mood disturbances. Through evidence-based treatment and support, it is possible to live life free from meth. While there are no FDA-approved medications to treat meth addiction, behavioral therapies can be effective. One example is cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps people cope with situations that may prompt drug use. Another example uses motivational incentives in the form of vouchers or rewards that the people can earn as encouragement for not using meth or other substances. So just that alone, that's dangerous. That's just knowing what kind of drug we're dealing with. That's dangerous enough. Fox, let me hear your thoughts real quick.
Right, I agree.
Oh, yeah, Barbara,
Well, I mean, having been a person that suffered from addiction, I think that we need to put a lot more emphasis on getting people the help that they need to conquer addiction. I don't think that there are enough programs out there. I am glad that we do have programs where people can get Narcan for free to try to conquer the effects of an overdose. But I mean, we've got drugs out there now that people are just putting on dollar bills and shit and just laying willy nilly everywhere. It's not, yeah, and it doesn't take much to get addicted to a drug. I mean, and a lot of people, they say it's the addict's fault because they did this and they did that. Do you know how easy it is to accidentally get addicted to pain pills that you were prescribed? Addiction isn't all about illegal
Very
drugs.
easily.
Mm-hmm. I have my wife standing right by me, and I know she's got a little bit to say. Hey, go ahead, babe.
Yeah. So this is somebody that I know. His friend, he was with a group of friends and stuff, and they were doing drugs or whatever. and come to find out that the coke that he had was laced with fentanyl and almost killed the guy.
Mm.
So be careful of your friends because you don't know what you're getting. I suggest you just don't take any of it.
I totally agree with you.
True.
I totally agree with you. And that's the portion I want to get into in just a little bit later. But of course, with a lot of drugs, we got to know about the effects, the short term and long term health risks.
Well, he lost the motor of his left side because of it. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he lost his left side because of it.
As far as methamphetamines go, even taking small amounts of meth can cause harmful health effects, including, but not limited to, increased blood pressure and body temperature, faster breathing, rapid or irregular heartbeat, loss of appetite, disturbed sleep patterns or nausea, erratic, aggressive, irritable, or violent behavior. Now, again, everything I'm reading off, that's coming from the SAMHSA. Does it not the
I
word?
can attest that some of those effects will stick with you for the rest of your life, even after you get off the drugs. The high blood pressure, the high heart rate, a lot of those are permanent side effects of the damage you've done to your body from doing those drugs.
Wow. Listen to this bit of information. This is the rise of meth use here in the United States. According to the CDC, the rate of fatal overdoses involving meth and other stimulants has increased significantly. According to the SAMHSA, about 2 million people ages 12 and older use meth in any given year, while 500 people each day are trying it for the very first time. Two million people use meth in any given year, while 500 people a day try it for the first time. As far as the long-term health risks, this is what chronic meth use can lead to, even when they stop taking it. Permanent damage to the heart and brain, high blood pressure leading to heart attacks, stroke, and death, liver, kidney, and lung damage, anxiety, confusion, and insomnia, paranoia, hallucinations, mood disturbances, delusions, or violent behavior, intense itching causing skin sores from scratching, premature osteoporosis, and severe dental problems. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but that's not even remotely near the situation I would rather subject my body to.
I'm with you on that.
And again, I mean, I can attest to a lot of that. I mean, I got all my teeth pulled when I was 40 years old, and I had already quit using for a long time. But the effects on what it does to your body last for a long time after you quit, and it's unfortunate.
It is. It is. I mean, I've heard more stories about people dying from it than I can shake a proverbial stick at.
But the problem is,
From
in this country,
overdosing.
instead of trying to help those that are addicted, this country tends to shame them. And like I said, there's a lot of people that get addicted through no fault of their own. They get addicted to painkillers, and then when the prescriptions run out, they turn to other means to get their fix.
Yep.
And until these doctors start being more cautious with the prescriptions that they're writing, we're going to continue to have problems. And they are starting to crack down on them. There's been a number of doctors sent away because they are writing prescriptions for these painkillers that they shouldn't be writing, and the reason they're doing it is they were getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies for writing the prescriptions.
And those prescriptions that they're writing, they might as well be death certificates as far as I'm concerned. It might as well be death certificates because that's exactly where it usually leads to. And anybody thinks that methamphetamines are bad, they haven't dealt with fentanyl yet. And my wife just gave a little example with someone she knows. Now here comes the facts on that. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that's up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. A major contributor to fatal and non-fatal overdoses here in the United States alone. There's pharmaceutical fentanyl, and then there's illicitly manufactured fentanyl. Both considered synthetic opioids. The pharmaceutical stuff is prescribed by doctors to treat severe pain, especially after surgery and for advanced stage cancer. However, most recent cases of fentanyl-related overdose are linked to illicitly manufactured fentanyl, which is distributed through illegal drug markets for its heroin-like effect. It is often added to other drugs because of its extreme potency, which makes drugs cheaper, more powerful, more addictive, and more dangerous.
Yep.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
There was another
I was
shooting
just gonna
today.
say, I never did
Morning.
drugs, but sorry.
There's a shooting this morning.
Oh my God. Another one?
Yeah, at a teacher, a kid, 2 kids or something.
Yep.
I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make any assumptions. I'm not gonna make any assumptions.
I've got plenty to say on it. See, at least with the drug problem that we do have laws in place to help put a stop to it. But I can assure you, there will be a certain party out there with their tagline that they use every time we have one of these shootings, saying thoughts and prayers. And the NRA will be out there saying the same thing, but there won't be anything done because any time that something is tried to be done, it gets bamboozled because the NRA is so deep in a certain party's pockets, it's beyond the realm of reason. And I know there's going to be people out there saying, well, they would just get their guns illegally. Yeah, some would.
Well,
but
I hate to say it sounds like an old church hymn, but it does. The hymn goes like this: will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? That's exactly what it is, a never-ending circle.
I don't want anyone to get me twisted. I think people do have a right to own a gun for protection. I own guns. Yeah, but we do need common sense laws in place. Now, I know there's going to be people that just get the guns illegally anyway. Well, yeah, some would. But if these laws that would be put in place would save even one child's life, don't you think it's worth it to do it? I mean,
absolutely.
And I think they should do background checks before they allow people to buy guns.
But, well, they do some background checks, but the problem is that the background checks are very watered down. I went into a pawn shop. I was able to buy a gun in 15 minutes. So, I mean, and then there's the loopholes when you go to the gun shows and stuff like that we have a major issue with. And they're not doing thorough enough background checks into people's mental health backgrounds and stuff, which is where you get some wackadoodles out there buying guns that have no business ever owning one. And I know, well, there's Second Amendment right. Well, you know what? If you've got a mental health issue, if you're already emotionally unstable, you do not need to own a fucking gun. I'm sorry.
Amen to that.
Period. Point blank. Back to the topic at hand about illicitly manufactured fentanyl, or IMF. It's available on the drug market in different forms, including liquid and powder. Powdered fentanyl looks just like many other drugs. It's commonly mixed with drugs like heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine, and made into pills that are made to resemble prescription opioids. Fentanyl-laced drugs are extremely dangerous, and many people may be unaware that their drugs are laced with it. In its liquid form, IMF can be found in nasal sprays, eye drops, and dropped onto paper or small candies. Now watch this. The street names for this stuff resembles something you may have resembles shows you may have seen on TV or movies or what have you. In this case, those street names are Apache, Dance Fever. Remember that show?
Yep.
Friend, Goodfellas, Jackpot, Murder 8, and Tango and Cash. Talk about having a bolo for that. Be careful. Fentanyl and other synthetic opioids are the most common drugs involved in overdose deaths. Even in small doses, it can be deadly. Check this out. Over 150 people die every day from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. 150 daily. I mean, that's the kind of number that should make you think, shouldn't it?
Yeah. You would think.
Drugs may contain deadly levels of fentanyl, and you wouldn't be able to see it, taste it, or smell it. See, taste, smell. Oh, there goes three of our senses going with that. It is nearly impossible to tell if drugs have been laced with fentanyl unless you test your drugs with fentanyl test strips. Now, in theory, sounds like a plan, but who is going to go around every day with test strips to make sure that the drugs they want is not necessarily laced with fentanyl with those test strips? It's good. It's a great idea in theory, but who's going to do all that? Those test strips are inexpensive.
It's something. I mean, at least it's something. It's a way for people to test. But, I mean, honestly, we had free needle programs for the longest time, and people were still sharing needles and stuff. So, I mean, just because the test strips are provided doesn't mean people are going to use them. And quite honestly, when you're out there trying to track down a drug dealer to get your fix, those strips are going to be the last thing you're thinking about. So.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, like you said, Fox. At least it's something, because those test strips are inexpensive and typically gives results within 5 minutes, which can be the difference between life and death. And even if the test is negative, I want to send this word out to everybody. Even if the test strips come up negative, you still want to take caution as test strips might not detect more potent fentanyl-like drugs, like carfentanil, Carfentanil. That is something. That is something that they're giving us warnings about. We got to be careful with this stuff.
Right.
So I know there's someone out there within eyeshot of this video, earshot of our voices. They're wondering, okay, you're giving us this warning. What can we do if someone is overdosing or think they're overdosing? First, you need to recognize the signs. Those signs, here's some things, these are some of the things you want to look for. Small, constricted, pinpoint pupils. So watch the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Falling asleep or losing consciousness. Check their breathing. If it's slow, if it's weak, or they're not breathing at all, that's a sign. Choking and gurgling sounds. The body is just gone limp. The skin is cold and or clammy. Or this is more visible. The skin is discolored, especially in the lips and the nails. Be careful. If that person is overdosing, you do not want to wait. You do not want to hesitate. It may be hard to tell whether a person is high or experiencing an overdose. If you're not sure, treat it like an overdose. Following these steps can save a life. First step, call 911 immediately.
Yes.
I tell you, most states have laws that may protect the person who is overdosing or the person who called for help from any legal trouble. So knowing that, yes, call 911 immediately. Second step, if you have it available, administer naloxone. That's a life-saving medication that can reverse the effects of opioid overdose, and it can save lives. It's available in all 50 states and can be purchased from a local pharmacy without a prescription in most states. So again, that's another thing to be careful of. Third step, you want to keep the person awake and breathing. You do whatever you have to do to keep that person awake and breathing. Fourth, you want to lay that person on their side to prevent from choking, which go back to one of the signs, choking and gurgling sounds. The last thing you want them to have to do is choke on their own vomit or anything like that. And finally, this is the most important. This is important and rather obvious, but still, you want to stay with that person until emergency assistance arrives. This is something that we have to consider in order to save a life. This is things we have to consider, especially with our loved ones. We get this information out to friends, family. As long as they know they get this information out. As long as we get this information out to them, they'll be ahead of the game. They can protect themselves. They can save the lives of others. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yes.
Why I get my
Can I say
medicine
something
for
real quick? Oh,
instead of the street.
Sure, go right ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I had a friend that lost her daughter from an overdose of drug. I don't know what drug it was, but she runs a program in honor for her daughter to help people to get off of drugs. And she said it's a very powerful. Drugs are very powerful, and when you don't have it, like you said, it makes you do crazy things to get your high. And
Absolutely.
I say that I agree with Arctic. Law enforcement should try to do things to help people to get the help they need. I absolutely agree with you when you said that, Arctic.
As do I. As do I. That's a great piece of information, Fox. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the kind of thing that even parents should be on alert about, because if they're not prepared and their kids end up getting a hold of this stuff, we could be watching the news one day and and see another statistic.
Right.
Well, I mean, and the whole concept of putting people in jail for using drugs where the only person they're hurting is their damn selves has never made any sense to me. I think those resources should be put towards trying to help that person get off of the substances rather than making their entire life go to shit by putting them with a felony sentence and in jail, in often cases, longer than what we put child molesters and murderers away. So.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing, I know that it wasn't on either the risk of methamphetamines, or well, even the risk of fentanyl. But there are times we get lucky enough to find money on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to be careful of that now,
Yep, that's true too.
because who knows that, for the sake of this conversation, that $1 bill you pick up
Could have.
could have could have fentanyl in it. Could have all
Yep.
fentanyl laced in it.
Drug on it.
Yeah.
And
Residue. Excuse me. Drug
anyone
residue on it.
yeah,
Yep.
and anyone who gets their hands on it unknowingly could die just like that.
Could be serving time.
Hang on a second, guys. There we go. Just a little thing with my camera and all. That's all. Anyway, it's the kind of thing. If we're not aware, if we're not prepared, you can lose your life, or you can lose the life of someone you're close to, somebody you love,
Mhm.
and you're just going to be left wondering how. This is the reason why. This is the reason why I said this is one of the most important editions of Bethea's Byte Reloaded that I've ever done, because it has to be talked about.
Right, I agree.
It has to be talked about. It's like I kind of it might seem a little weird you hearing this, but I kind of feel like my mom is right on my shoulder, making sure I give that very same talk she once gave me about the dangers of drug use and abuse.
I do want to point out that not all drugs are created equal, though. I mean, marijuana, for instance, does a lot to help people,
I agree
and
with that.
honestly does not have the addictive qualities that the other drugs that we're talking about does. Um, in fact, I'll just put it out there. I would much rather someone get high from smoking weed than get bullshit faced drunk from alcohol. But yet, alcohol is legal, and in many places, marijuana isn't.
Right?
Well,
I agree with
but that's
that.
with that statement you have my wife's ringing endorsement, Fox, and she takes medical marijuana herself.
I'm taking medical marijuana as we speak. So.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So yes, not all drugs are created equal, but still we have to be careful. A wrong one wrong turn, one wrong reach, and you'll either end up.
That's why I like getting my stuff out of the store instead of off the street because I don't know where the fuck it's been off the street. Rather get it in the
Yeah.
dispensary than I know where the fuck it's been.
You hear it from my wife first.
Yeah, she
Well,
gets it from the
absolutely.
dispensary instead of from. I don't blame ya, because these days people will put something in your pot if you're not careful.
No, I'm talking about when you go to the store, when you go to the dispensary instead
No, I
of getting
know.
it off.
I know. That's
Yeah, I
what I
know
was
what
saying.
you're.
I said it's better to get it at a dispensary instead of getting it from someone off the street because you don't know what they're putting in your pot if you're not careful.
That's
So it's better to
that
go
is
to a
exactly.
dispensary. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll get someone like me that when I
That's
was
what
in
I
high school,
do.
or you'll get someone like me who was a real piece of shit in high school and used to sell people bags of parsley.
Oh, I love you, Arctic. You're funny.
This is again. If anybody tuning in to Bethea's Bite Reloaded for the first time, you're hearing Arctic Fox. The reason why I love having him on is simple. The man has zero filter.
Yep.
He's
That's what I love about him.
to use a
Say,
to use a
we all love him.
to use my best wrestling term for him. Arctic Fox is our Pentagon.
Yeah.
He has as he said,
Yes.
zero miedo, zero fear.
Hey,
Oh, we got
Blondie.
Blondie. How you doing, Blondie?
How are you doing, sweetheart?
Good to see you, Blondie.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Blondie.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
You know what's also crazy is people like, okay, like when I have a story to tell that's based off of this. When my real mother was pregnant with me, she did drugs while she was pregnant with me. And when I was born, I had to have another baby's heart. So I had to have heart surgery. And see, when you're doing drugs while you're carrying a child, that can affect the child.
Well, yeah, without a doubt, that's why hell, they tell people not even to smoke cigarettes while they're pregnant or have a drink, much less using these
Yeah.
hard drugs.
And so, yeah, with her doing that, that caused me to have heart problems where I had to, you know, get another baby's heart. That didn't make it. And I'm thankful that I made it, you know. I'm thankful I didn't die.
Well, And I'm sure that the parents of the baby that donated their heart, they take a little bit of comfort at least in knowing that a part of their child lives on in someone else too.
Right.
Yeah.
And if
Again,
you know, I was just going to
go
say,
ahead.
if anyone knows someone that is on drugs or doing drugs, please try to get them the help they need. Please.
Hmm. You can't say that enough. You
The
can't say that
problem
enough.
is the problem is that you can beg people and try to get them help all until the
know.
cows come home. But until that person wants to get off the drugs, until they sit there and take a hard look at themselves and say, I'm done, all the help in the world is not going to make a difference. But it's important for that help to be out there for when they do get ready. Because, I mean, I died 3 times before clinically died 3 times before I finally said, you know what? I'm tired of seeing my loved ones hurt. I'm tired of waking up in the hospital and not knowing how the fuck I got here. I'm going to do something to change. And I did. And honestly, I can tell you that it was very hard to do. But I will say this. Kicking some of these harder drugs wasn't as hard as stopping smoking. I honestly don't think that some of these drugs that are out there are nearly as addictive as nicotine. They are hard to get off of, but it's not impossible to do. And you can certainly do it, especially with the right resources, which is why they need to be made available, readily available to everyone.
Right. I know you can't force people to get off drugs. I just don't want to see another person, dying from an overdose. And I just think there's got to be something else we could do. I guess just talking about this, maybe you can help someone to want to go and get help. But like you said, they have to want to get help. Like you said, that is true. You can't force people.
And honestly, the mental health problem and the drug problem kind of go hand in hand. A lot of people that get addicted to these drugs, speaking from personal experience, I was using that to self-medicate because we have a issue in this country where mental health care is not readily available to everyone, and when it is available, it's kind of not because the price range in mental health care is out of a lot of people's pockets. And so a lot of people turn to drugs to self-medicate and to numb the pain. It's why we have so many alcoholics in this country too, is because people self-medicate. And so if we could get the mental health system in check, I think it would do a lot towards getting the drug issues out there in check.
You're right. But like you've been saying the last 5-10 minutes, it's all about the want to.
Yeah.
It's all about the want to. If you don't want to, you're not going to get the help you're looking for. We say it all the time. Closed mouths don't get fed.
True.
Closed doors don't open until you turn the knob.
It's like the story my preacher told one time. There was a big flood coming, and people were all up on the roofs. There was a whole family up on the roof, and 3 boats came by trying to rescue this family. And the family was like, "Nope, Jesus saved me." They drowned. They get up to heaven. They're like, "Jesus, why didn't you save me?" He's like, "How the hell? Who do you think sent the 3 boats?"
I remember that. I heard that before too.
Fact. He said 3 boats because anybody who's a believer knows everything out of heaven comes in 3s.
Amen.
Everything out of heaven comes in 3s. Jesus sent 3 boats. They didn't jump at either one of them. They drowned.
Mm-hmm.
Whose fault is that?
Theirs. He
Exactly.
wasn't going to come and appear himself to them. That's why he sent 3
Right.
boats. Oh my goodness.
Mm. We got that's the reason that's another important step when you when it comes down to help in this kind of situation. Again, it's all about the want to, but at the same time, you don't want to be scared to accept that help. The worst thing that can happen to you is that
It's not accepting
you
the help.
live. You live. You may not expect it, but if you accept it, the worst thing that can happen is you live. The worst thing that can happen is you survive. The best thing that can happen is up to you, which is you survive, you thrive, you
Yep.
live the life you want to.
Right?
And trust me, as much as people may want to say the opposite, methamphetamines and fentanyl can't do that.
No. And the
Mm-mm.
fact that they produce fentanyl for medicinal purposes is beyond me. The opiates that already existed were strong enough for pain. They did not need to create yet another opioid, synthetic opioid out there for masses to get addicted to, especially one that's as addictive as fentanyl is. I can't even begin to imagine being prescribed. I would not allow anyone to prescribe me fentanyl. I just wouldn't allow it.
And
Right?
anybody missed it, when I first introduced the facts on fentanyl, if anybody that missed out, I'll reiterate this: fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin. Anybody who's taking heroin knows how strong that is, and 100 times stronger than morphine. Anyone who's taken morphine knows how strong that is. Now, take take your basic hit of heroin and multiply that by 50. Take your basic prescription of morphine and multiply that by 100.
I've been on morphine in the hospital. They had me on a morphine drip when I had to have back surgery. And
Mm-hmm.
if that shit's 100 times more powerful than morphine, you're never coming down from outer space.
Not even. Not even. No, this is something you don't want to mess with on purpose. Let me say it that way. That's something you don't want to mess with on purpose. This is why we're having this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing this to save a life, maybe your own. So I'm going to quickly pull up some added information. How to seek help for ah, of course, of course. I should have known this from the start. If you are someone you know that is having addiction issues, whether it be methamphetamine, whether it's fentanyl, whether it's whatever the issue is. There is help available, and I'm doing this here live for your benefit. This is not just because I'm just here and I want to run my mouth. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's National Health Line is a free, confidential 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year treatment referral and information service in both English and Spanish for individuals and families facing mental and or substance use orders. The number is 1-800-662-HELP. It's 1-800-662-4357. Again, that's something that is information you definitely want to get a hold of.
Absolutely.
Also, if you're hearing impaired or speech impaired and you still looking for help, you can use their TTY service. That number is 1-800-487-4889. Or you can send in your zip code with the text message "help for you," which is 435748. Again, this is a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year service. If you need the help, get it.
Right. I agree.
And your information is confidential.
No.
They won't ask you for information. They'll ask for your zip code and other pertinent geographic information to track calls being routed from other offices or to accurately identify local resources to appropriate your needs. It's free of charge. You don't need they can refer you to facilities that charge on a sliding fee scale or accept Medicare or Medicaid. If you have health insurance, you're encouraged to contact your insurer for a list of participating healthcare providers and facilities. But again, this is important. It's important that you do this for yourself or someone you know and love who is dealing with mental or substance abuse issues. Once again, that number is 1-800-662-HELP. 1-800-662-4357. The life you save could be your own.
Amen.
Arctic Fox, thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
Barbara, thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Now, again, as a reminder, Wednesday, I'm going to be back here talking with a YouTube favorite of mine, who I've also been talking with a lot on Facebook too. On YouTube, she goes by Single Mama 4.
Oh,
We're gonna talk to her about what had happened with her adopted daughter and how that comes into relation with methamphetamine, fentanyl, and how we can get justice for her. So This was just part one. You're gonna want to be here for part two Wednesday. Fox, I know you'll be here for that because you were one of the people on that case.
Yep.
I will definitely be there to show her some support. I'll be there most definitely.
All right, then there you have it. Same time Wednesday, 5 o'clock in the east, 2 o'clock in the west, and I'm just gonna go out like this. Everybody, please take care of yourself. Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. Show each other love. Show yourself some love. That way, I can see you all back here on Wednesday.
Hey, Arden,
Yeah.
I just want to ask you a quick question real quick. Did
Okay.
you ever get your brand new laptop yet?
I have not. I've got my studio pretty much built. I'm still saving money towards the laptop. I don't have enough for the one that I need yet. It's an expensive one. The one that I want, I ain't gonna lie, it's like $1,700. But as soon as I get the money saved for it, I am gonna get that. And I've got all the Cash App money that was sent to me set aside for that. So
Yeah. Well, if ever anyone can, please do help Arctic. If that's okay for me to say, reload it.
Sure, I'm thinking. I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
On my own end, I'm thinking about. I don't know whether I should start up one myself because I'm having a rough time with my own bills.
I hear you. I mean, like,
Right?
I wouldn't even ask for help for a new laptop. It's just the one that I've got. It only has
It's crappy.
like it is crappy. It's got like 2 gigs of memory. I'm having to reboot it several times a day just in order to try to do what I'm doing. And I just need something that's more capable to handle the workload that I do. So,
Well, I appreciate you you do the work you do. Oh,
Yes,
and I
me
know
too.
There's a lot of us that appreciate the work you do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you all so much for being here. For those of you who catch this on replay, thank you for watching. Like I said, this is one of the most important editions of Bethea's Byte Reloaded I've ever done, and Wednesday is equally important. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Until then, again, be kind to yourself, be kind to your friends, be kind to your family. Love on each other, love on yourself. That way I can see you next time for another edition of Bethea's Byte Reloaded.
amen.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
Y'all have a great day.
Until then, you all know what to do.
Yep.
Bite this.
Bye.
I
Hey guys, this is The Last Outlaw. I send you all a million thank yous for all the love and support of Bethea's Byte Reloaded. I know I've said this before, but it bears being repeated. Without you, this channel does not run. So again, a million times over, I thank you. I'd like you to do something for me. If you enjoyed this video, or you want to give your feedback on anything that was discussed or shown, I'd like you to do the following. Give the video a like. It helps to get the information out to everyone who may have information leading to getting justice for the victims and or bringing the missing home safe. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and let's join in this fight together. Be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified of future videos, live and pre-recorded. The real game changer is when you click the share button. Send this and videos like it all over your social media. The more eyes and ears on this channel, the better the chances of getting justice for the families of the victims and bringing the missing home. Of course you're going to have your say as well, so be sure to drop a comment. I just ask you to keep it clean and civil. Remember, we are about getting justice, not arguing over who's right or wrong in a debate. Don't forget to follow Bethea's Byte Reloaded all over social media. On Facebook at Bethea's Byte Reloaded TC. On Twitter at EKB316. On YouTube at Bethea's Byte Reloaded, with and without the punctuation marks. On Instagram at EB The Last Outlaw. On TikTok at King of Hearts 316 2021. Email me at kingofhearts316_09 at outlook.com. Hit me up on the message forum at www.betheasbyte.com. This is your home for news, opinions, debates, your voice, and justice served. This is Bethea's Byte, and it's reloaded.